Today, we're recognizing a heartbreaking milestone. It's been 1 year since our state first announced the first cases of COVID-19. We pause today to recognize and mourn the 1,381 Montgomery County residents who are among the more than 500,000 Americans who have lost their lives to COVID-19. The day before the inauguration, President Joe Biden stood at the COVID-19 memorial and he said, "To heal, we must remember." That is what we must do as a community and a nation. We remember every person we have lost to this deadly virus and everything we've lost so that we can heal. We also honor the many more who continue to suffer from the impact of this virus. A year ago, we had no idea how much this pandemic would change our entire lives, but so many in our community have risen to the challenge of COVID-19. Our first line responders rose to the challenge, our county government workers, our parents and teachers, and our students, our businesses and our health team led by Dr. Gales and Dr. Crowell. They've all risen to the challenges of this virus. Almost every person in our community has had to come together and adapt so that we could protect each other and reduce the spread. As we remember and reflect today, I'm hopeful because I know this will be the year of recovery. Already, we have vaccinated so many of our most vulnerable residents, and we can start to look forward to a time when we can see extended family members and more of our friends again. Over this year of recovery, we'll have a tremendous opportunity to rebuild a Montgomery County that's stronger, healthier, more prosperous, and more equitable than the one we inherited a year ago. That's what gives me hope today as we remember and honor everything we've lost. We've been joined today by so many of our community leaders who have shown extraordinary leadership and service during this crisis. So let me read their names, and I want you all to know how grateful the County Council is for your leadership and your partnership in this very, very difficult year. We've been joined by Mayor Judd Ashman, Mayor John Compton, Mayor Bridget Newton, Mayor Kate Stewart, as well as Lynn Arndt, Heather Bruskin, Dr. Usa Bunag, Ann Durst, Jackie DiCarlo, Mike Greenberg, Byron Johns, Maisie Lynch, Mayor Modi, Brian Naves, Grace Rivera-Oven, John Ross, Kimberly Rusnak, Reverend Kendra Smith, Venkat Subramanian, and Sandy Zimmett. Thank you all for everything you've done for us and for our community this year. We're very grateful for your leadership and your continued partnership. Let me call on the county executive.
This has been a long, hard year. And, I know how much work everybody here has done. And I just think back to the scrambling around at the very beginning of this and how little we knew when we got hit by this and how ill prepared this whole country was for dealing with it. And it's been a long journey. And I think, it's good to be where we're sitting today. We know that there are vaccines coming. We also know we're not completely out of the woods. We all have to be, I think, super vigilant about where this goes over the next month or so. I know that the health folks are very concerned about strains and what their effects might be. We can't be overconfident. We continue to ask people to take all the precautions we've been asking them to take for the last year. A year is a long time, but when you can finally see the possibility of moving out of this COVID world, I think it's worth it for people to take a little bit more time and be a little bit more patient about how we go forward over the last, hopefully, few months of having to deal with the shortages in vaccine that we've been dealing with. Things will get better. Production is on the way. I know in the county that without our partners, we would have really struggled to deliver the services and keep programs running at the level that we really needed to. I mean, the nonprofits, the local jurisdictions that all stepped up, that all partnered with us in making sure that people got the messaging that when testing was available, that they made sure the residents got tested. Without the help of everybody on the screen and probably the thousands more people who aren't here today, without all their help, it would have been a real struggle for us to do it as the government by itself. So I just want to thank everybody, the council for the work you've done, the nonprofits, and all of you here today, the other government officials. We're not out of it, but if you look at our numbers, we've done a pretty good job of keeping Montgomery County safer than a lot of other places. And that would not have happened but for you. And I always remind our residents, I go out, I don't go anyplace where I don't see masks. I haven't been in the store without seen a person without a mask in months and months and months. And just generally walking around, it's no longer an option. Without people doing this, we wouldn't be here. So I want to thank all the residents of the county for, following the health advice and doing what you can do to make sure that everybody stays safe. So thank you.
Thank you. I mentioned Dr. Kroll and Dr. Gales, but let me thank you as well, Mr. County Executive, for all your leadership this year. I should mention Dr. Stoddard as well, and all of your staff who have been tremendous partners to work with through this very difficult and challenging year. Let me call on Council Vice President Gabe Albornoz.
Thank you, Mr. President. This has been an extraordinarily difficult, challenging, and disorienting year for so many of our residents. In addition to the almost 1,400 residents that have lost their lives, most of our public school students have been out of school for an entire year. We've had businesses that have had to let thousands of their employees go, and some of those businesses have failed. And it has been immensely challenging economically, socially, and from a public health standpoint, disproportionately for too many of our residents. Despite those unbelievable challenges, it's the people in this Zoom right now and the thousands of other county residents that have stepped forward to help their neighbors in need that give me tremendous hope that this upcoming year will certainly be better than the year we've had, but also lay the infrastructure and foundation for us to build back stronger in so many different ways. Two people that are on this call this morning are Dr. Mike Greenberg and Grace Rivera Oven, who saw needs in their respective communities through the developmental disability community and in the Germantown and northern area of Montgomery County, and stepped forward selflessly, putting their own health and that of their families at risk to be able to step forward in this hour of crisis. They are beautiful examples of people who have stepped forward to address the complex and challenging and growing needs of our residents, as so many have here in Montgomery County. I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of all of you, and I'm proud of this community. We are going to come out of this stronger. We are going to come out of this better. And it has been an honor to serve with all of you on the council through this unprecedented year, and you as well, Mr. County Executive, as well as our incredible team in HHS. I look forward to the future. It will be brighter. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Glass.
I wasn't prepared to speak, but I just want to echo the sentiments of you and Councilmember Albornoz, and just thanking everybody here for all the incredible work that you all have been doing. We are all in this together, as we said at the beginning of this pandemic, and it has held true 1 year later to make sure that all of our residents are healthy and safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think we have a proclamation in front of us. I'll read the first clause, and then we'll go to Council Vice President Albornoz, and then all the council members in alphabetical order. Whereas COVID-19, an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus, was first detected in Montgomery County in March 2020, and on March 5th, the state of Maryland declared a state of emergency, and overnight, our way of life was changed.
And whereas shortly after, our schools quickly pivoted to remote learning, our public safety, frontline workers, and medical staffers had to scramble to find personal protective equipment to serve and treat our community. And our local businesses were forced to close their doors to protect our public health. And
whereas we are grateful to our healthcare heroes, our first responders, and our essential workers who keep showing up and putting their own lives on the line to save others, as well as our nonprofit and community partners who mobilized to serve our community. Councilmember Glass.
And whereas our community and nation have suffered tremendously during this past year, losing more than 525,000 Americans nationwide and more than 1,426 residents to the virus here in Montgomery County.
And whereas community leaders and organizations have worked relentlessly over the last year to provide critical safety net programs by appropriating necessary funding to keep our residents, restaurants, small businesses, nonprofits, and arts organizations afloat during the pandemic. Councilmember Katz.
And whereas Montgomery County also provided more than $53 million for rental assistance, more than $30 million for food security, and more than $80 million for our small businesses and local restaurants to assist our community during this challenging time. And
whereas we are grateful to each Montgomery County resident for doing their part in slowing the spread by wearing masks, social distancing, avoiding large gatherings, getting tested and vaccinated, and
whereas with safe and effective vaccinations underway to slow and ultimately eliminate the spread of the virus, we appreciate our researchers who developed the vaccines and our vaccinators for fully vaccinating 90,368 county residents and for vaccinating 187,164 residents with their first dose. And
whereas these vaccines and the way that our community has pulled together during the pandemic has made it possible to conquer this virus and emerge stronger as a community with a bright future, because we are Montgomery County strong and we will continue to get through this together. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby recognizes March 5th, 2021 as Montgomery County's one-year battle against COVID-19, presented on the 9th day of March in the year of 2021. Tom Hucker, Council President, Mark Elridge, County Executive. Thank you all so much for all your leadership.
thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
thank you.
thank you.
We have a video message from Montgomery County's own local hero, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Warm greetings to you all. My name is Tony Fauci, Director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, and Chief Medical Advisor for COVID-19 to President Joe Biden. I am delighted to have this opportunity to congratulate and thank the County Council and community leaders of Montgomery County who have worked so hard in responding to the COVID-19 pandemic on behalf of people who live and work in the county. With the recent emergency use authorization of a third COVID-19 vaccine by the Food and Drug Administration, we are well positioned to bring this historic pandemic under control if we all just hang on a bit longer. Now is the time to keep our foot on the accelerator with regard to adherence to public health measures such as masking, physical distancing, and other measures that we know work to protect people from the SARS-CoV-2 virus, while we are ramping up efforts to vaccinate as many people as we can as quickly as possible. Using both strategies in tandem is the most effective way to quickly reduce the level of virus in the county and thwart new infections. We are all in this together, and working together is how we can end it. Thank you for supporting NIH. Stay well and keep up your outstanding work.